Welcome to Zach D TV, the place for interesting news from around the net. In today's episode, we are going to look into the Deep Space Gateway, some interesting astronomical events that are taking place or coming up this month, and we're going to wrap up with a theft from the Neil Armstrong Museum. And remember, if you want more interesting news 7 days a week, go ahead and click the subscribe button right over here. Alright, let's get into this. I'm going to start right off with the Deep Space Gateway. For those of you who don't know, this is NASA's plan to put an orbiting space station around the moon. They plan on using this for studies, for trips from the space station to the moon, and even to launch our shot at going to Mars in 2030. I bring all this up because we have some new developments in this program. Let's start with last week. NASA put out a request for information to its suppliers for the engine to power this space station. Basically what this is they want the timeline, the designs, the specs, all that wrapped up in a neat little ball, and let them know what they are going to get if they decide to go with that specific supplier. In a statement from NASA, they say, "Through the RFI, we hope to better understand industry's current state-of-the-art and potential future capabilities for deep space power and propulsion." Like I said, they're looking to see what they're going to be given and how they can incorporate that into their plan. Another big milestone just passed. The third test of the NASA RS-25 rocket is a success. This footage here is from the second test. I couldn't find footage for the current one, but as you can see, this is an immense rocket. I mean, this is that heavy launch system that they plan on using to put Orion up to the moon and bring it home. And in another NASA statement, they said, "With this latest test, NASA continues to set the stage for deep space exploration missions, achieving another milestone towards launch of the first integrated flight of SLS and the Orion spacecraft, known as Exploration Mission 1. SLS will be powered at launch by 4 RS-25 engines, firing simultaneously to provide 2 million pounds of thrust, and working in conjunction with a pair of solid rocket boosters to produce up to 8 million pounds of thrust." Those numbers are just astronomical, but it is what you will need to make a mission to Mars. And this being part of the SLS, or Space Launch System, it is the same system they plan on using to launch from the Deep Space Gateway. And another bit of news in this Next Step program by Lockheed Martin, they're working on designing a fully autonomous science module for the Deep Space Gateway. It needs to be fully autonomous because this station shouldn't be manned all the time. They plan on putting astronauts up there for a period of time, bringing them home, swapping crews, stuff like that. But there will be chunks of time where no one will be there. There'll be no one home. So they plan on designing this module so that it can work completely autonomously. It can make sure there's oxygen in the labs. It can make sure that the life support's running. It can make sure everything's up and moving for whatever they need to make sure their experiments are going right. They're designing this on the ground. They are building a full-size prototype that won't be launch ready, just so they get where to put everything. And that's the beauty of our modern technology. Compared to what we had when the space station first went up, to now, our phones are as powerful as the computers they had to launch back when the space station went up. So our technology is going to take a lot less room. They could pack a lot more into this. And for my last bit on the Deep Space Gateway, Bigelow Aerospace has achieved the 1-year success of its beam capsule. This is that inflatable capsule that's attached to the space station right now. They think it has even taken a shot by an asteroid, although it was pretty small, they can't find the hole. But it stood up well. This thing is performing perfectly. And with this success, Beam is working on a B330 capsule, which will be 20 times the size of the Beam capsule on the space station right now. It will be its own standalone inflatable space station. This is in contention too for that Deep Space Gateway. If you want to see more about it, check out Beam's website. Pretty cool stuff. And you can see the existing Beam capsule in the new tour that Google Maps put together to let you walk around the space station like an astronaut. For my next little bit here, I'm going to change up my format a bit, and I think I want to do weekly shows based on certain topics. Well, it's early in August. In fact, it's the beginning of August. And I thought for my first space show of every month, I'm going to tell you guys what you can look for in the heavens. And this month is a doozy. I mean, of course, the big news is solar eclipse coming on the 21st of August. It's going to start in Oregon at 8:46 a.m. and end in South Carolina at 5:04 p.m. I hope you guys get a chance to see this. Where I'm positioned, it seems like I'm not going to see the full eclipse, but I'm going to get a good side shot of it anyway. We're also going to have Jupiter in the night sky. It will be the brightest star-like object in the sky. It's going to be sitting a little bit below the moon, as you can see here. It should be visible until around the end of August, and by the first week of September, it's pretty much going to be below the horizon. So get out there and take a look at Jupiter. And by the way, off to the right of it a little bit, you might be able to see a blue star called Spica. Little tiny thing, just a pretty light in the sky. And something you could point to and say, hey kids, see that little dot there? That is a star, Spica. And finally, part of the reason I thought of doing this is the asteroid showers. August is a great month for asteroid showers. Probably the most popular one is the Perseid. Well, altogether, we're going to have 6 meteor showers happening this month. Some of them started in late July, but they run through August. We'll start with the Capricornids, which did peak back on July 26th, but it will run till August 15th. This is a smaller shower, only 5 or 6 events per hour, and it should be visible around 1 a.m. until the 15th. The Delta Aquarids are out there too. They run through again till August 15th. This shower would be 2 streams worth of meteors coming in and can produce 2 to 3 dozen shooting stars per hour. This is a pretty good one. It'll be visible around 2:30 in the morning until August 15th. The Pisces Austrinids runs till August 20th and will be visible around 2 a.m. for your best viewing. Another small one, only about 8 meteors per hour, but worth taking a look at. The Alpha Capricornids, though, will be up too. That will peak tomorrow night on August 2nd and will end on August 25th. The best viewing time will be around 2:30, and you're going to want to look in the constellation Capricorn. While this doesn't produce a lot of meteors, it's known to produce bright yellow fireballs. So some pretty spectacular viewing there. The Iota Aquarids will peak on August 6th. If you look towards the southern sky around 1 a.m., that will be its peak production. Only a couple per hour, but still some amazing sights to see. And of course, the Perseids, one of the biggest meteor events we have all year. The peak of this shower will be August 12th. And you're going to want to be watching towards Perseus. You can see more than 50 meteors an hour, sometimes double that per hour in a very strong meteor storm. And this should be visible into the 3rd week of August. So there's some pretty good viewing for you guys. If you need to look up any of these constellations, I suggest Sky Maps. It's a program for your phone, and basically it works kind of like augmented reality, sort of. You point your phone towards what you want to see, and it will tell you what you're looking at. And you can find the constellation you want to look at using that app. Well, good luck. I hope you see something cool. And to wrap this up, I've got some bad news out there too. On Friday, a thief broke into the Armstrong Air and Space Museum. They stole a gold Cartier replica of the Apollo 11 lunar module. This was given to Neil Armstrong and the other 2 astronauts when they returned from the moon after the Apollo 11 mission. It's only 5 inches tall, and unfortunately, by now, it's probably been melted down. This is a piece of American history that has just been destroyed by some thief. The reason they believe it's been melted down is right there next to it was a moon rock worth millions of dollars to a collector. They could have easily snuck it out of the country and made millions. Instead, they took the statue that's only worth thousands once it's melted down. If you happen to know anybody who did this, if you happen to have any information on this, call your local authorities and let them know. Any chance to recover this is worth taking. Like I said, this is a piece of national history, and unfortunately, some asshole's going to destroy it. And with that, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for stopping in. I do this 5 days a week with a live stream on Saturday and a short on Sunday, so make sure to stop in again. And until next time I see you, have fun and be safe.